And we are back to the .gg podcast, episode 9, with Kobe, Patrick, and Jeremy. How are y'all doing this week?
Yeah. I'm good.
Awesome. I think, we definitely need some sort of intro, some music playing, get in the vibe, the dynamic of it.
Yeah.
But anyways, today we are going to talk more about OP13 leaks. They never stop coming, and then we've got some interesting content to talk about in the EU finals, because apparently ruling in the game can be up to interpretation. But we'll hold off on that discussion until later. Let's hop right into it. First up, going through the red cards, we've got Nefeltari Vivi. There's a red character, 1 cost, 2k power. Alabasta, we're going back to OP04, 1k counter. So on play, as a searcher, you can look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Alabasta or Straw Hat Crew type card with a cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, we're here now. We finally arrived at like searching for big things.
Yep.
Right? This isn't the only card that we've seen now, where it's like now you can actually search for bosses.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy. Like One Piece is accelerating. Like we are in it's a new brave new world.
Yeah.
That we're in.
I love this thing that they kind of discovered with the purple law searcher, which is like if you add this kind of requirement of it has to be greater than 2, you prevent a lot of like unhealthy situations where you search, like where you do too many like rapid 1-cost searching.
Yeah.
And it really is kind of this balancing mechanic we've seen it implement several times now.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And I really like that. And then as for like the card itself, I don't know how good it's gonna be, but I think there are like probably some Zoro players who are like hyped about this because it's Dadan searchable for people who like running the 1-drop build. The fact that it searches 2 kind of types, which just opens up your game plan more to like if you're running more Alabasta pieces for like animal package. Who knows where this will land, but I think the card art's amazing, and like I love this kind of width development on the game. Like I think these kind of cards like this, if you showed us this card like back in OP3, like in the heyday of Zoro, we'd be like, whoa, what's going on? But now we're like, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cool with that. It's not color locked either, is it? So, well, not that there's Alabasta outside of red.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can search, I think, a Straw Hat or Alabasta of any color. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. So I guess it can search the new Sanji.
Ooh.
But which is already Straw Hat Crew. But
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
I used to love testing out the Alabasta cards in OP04. I remember Igaram in particular. It was just like one of the OG like 2 costs rested to search, and then they have to swing into it. You know, it didn't really get you very far with that deck, but it was fun.
Yeah. Oh, Igaram.
Yep. All right, next up we got Monkey D. Garp. It's a red character, 1 cost, 2k power, Navy, 1k counter. On play, if your leader is a Monkey D. Luffy, Sabo, or Portgas D. Ace, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 with a cost of 3 or greater and put it into your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing, right? Like just you're searching, but you're now no longer able to search like these lower weenies, right? You have to search for something bigger. So that just seems to be where these searchers are headed.
Yeah, and can't find the babies, so it's kind of really cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Top 4 cards, so they're always like, I think in entering this new era, they're being a bit conservative for a good reason too, where they're like, okay, let's do this, but then let's lock it to 4. Yeah. Because, you know, does it need to be 5? Because like a lot of the heavy lifting is in the other parts of it already.
Yeah.
Does it have to be 5? Forces you to actually have good ratios. Like your ratios are forced to. Oh, it's anything.
Any card, actually, I was thinking of this card, not the Vivi. I was thinking of this, where you can take anything, because it's not type locked, right? Like, so your leader type locked, but you can just take anything that you need. So it lets you find your top end.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was mixing up this and the Vivi.
Okay, well, this is
what's crazy about this. This is the crazy one.
It's the bomb searcher, and it's findable off Dadan. So I love anything that anything from the Dadan like 1-drop searchable searchers package, search into search. Like, I love that stuff.
Yeah, careful having too many Dadans though, because you're gonna miss. It is nice that the search for forces you to kind of commit to the bit of like your deck building, so you don't whiff.
Yeah, and that's actually like a tricky thing too, like the search for. It really changes like the ratios that you have to put in your deck when you're trying to do certain types of searches. That doesn't really apply here though, because you can take kind of anything that's big enough. So as long as you have enough big things, you're fine. But in the case of like the Vivi, right, you have to really think about your ratios for a searcher like that. When you're only searching 4. I usually think of like 20 of a card means you usually hit most of the time.
Yeah.
But when it's top 4, you end up needing more. Like you need like 24 to 25 copies of the card to reliably hit. So that kind of really changes how you deck build. But yeah, in this case, it doesn't really matter because as long as you've just got enough big targets, which I guess actually it might still matter though when you think about it. Like cost of 3 or greater, you have to think about like in the context of your deck, how many targets do you actually have that cost more than 3, right? I feel like most decks would have a good number, but it kind of does limit things because it wouldn't work in like if you were playing like a lot of weenies or a lot of low cost characters.
Yeah. That's actually one of the reasons why I've been liking how 2K diversity has been so good. So 2K diversity is being so diverse mean that you have a lot of 2Ks that fulfill this cost line. Like let's say you're running a deck that has the 4 chopper blockers. Yeah. That's 4 hits for this already, and it makes it a lot easier for there to be kind of a flexibility in your deck building. Yeah. Like I could feel like you could make 8 of the hits that you need of your 24 per se for this card already off just like your 2Ks or 8 to 12. Yeah. So like we're getting to that era where 2Ks and searchers are just becoming more reliable, which was always a pain sometimes when you're playing a deck and you're like, oh, if only my searchers and 2Ks were better.
Yeah, which is also interesting because like if you think about like a lot of the good 2Ks, let's say in red, a lot of these are going to rotate, but you've got like Otamas and Makinos and like so that might change that you don't put these in the deck where you take some of these newer 2Ks that are just big bodies just to make sure that this always hits reliably, right? Because if you were running that typical red package of like, let's say 12 2Ks that are all like really, really low cost, all of a sudden this might start to get a little sketchy when you're playing this card because now that you're running, let's say 4 of this, now you're at like 16 cards already that aren't, so it changes how you deck build in an interesting way. And then the 4 especially just adds that additional constraint. Yeah.
Man, that Sanji 3 cost 6K is so searchable now. Like it's so searchable. It is like you could just see it on Dawn 3 every single game.
Yep.
Oh.
All right, Monkey D Dragon. There's a red character, 6 cost, 7K power, Rev Army, 1K counter. Once per turn, when your Rev Army type character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, you may instead give this character minus 2K power for this turn.
Ooh. Man, that makes things sticky, eh?
Yeah, there's a discussion going on Twitter where people were saying like we need more keywords, and it would be almost. We're getting to the point now where we almost just need like a keyword that's like stops removal, and then you have some specifier that's like minus 2,000, like because there's just every card is being printed with some sort of like removed from the field, removed by KO, like it's getting really, really, really crazy. Yeah, it's still like we've talked about. It does feel like this is like just a giant band-aid that's being put on the game to fix some mistakes of the past. And yeah, it's interesting. Like I think the more you do this, the more you're going to have to maybe flesh out the identity of black as a color and even blue as a color. Like where like these were traditionally removable colors, and now nothing can be removed. And of course, in the context of Rev Army, they have some characters that you really, really want to remove, like Karasu. And so like. It gets really, really tricky now that we're getting all of this protection for like Rev Army. Like Dragon can protect himself, right? Or another character. And isn't there another protection effect too for Red?
Was it the
Ivankov?
Yeah.
So it's like the Rev Army stuff is just going to stick forever, which was one of the counters to the deck, which was removing things like Karasu. So it's kind of interesting. It's very on point. Like we've just been seeing this nonstop now.
Yeah, we've been seeing like Bandai be like, oh man, removal too. And I had this thought all the way back in OPO 4 or 5 was like, OPO6 was like, oh no, if you like have too much removal that trivializes all the early parts of the, like basically if you have too much removal that trivializes developing board, you end up in the state where now no one wants to play anything that won't stick, and now the only good cards are the ones that stick.
Yeah.
And then you make removal more powerful, and then like you just end up creeping against itself because you work into this linear philosophy, which is either it's a body that's hard to remove or it's a removal card that's very good at removing things.
Yeah.
And where does that go eventually? It becomes an arms race, and then you don't actually get like meaningful balance. And like, I'm not sure if this is still not giving it quite enough nuance. I love that it is answering the first most problem is removal should not be that easy.
Yeah.
And this is answering that. But I also wonder like, where does that go like a year from now, where I don't like how texty is this card?
Yeah.
How texty is this? I want to see how texty this is. Yeah. Just go down a little bit so I can see how texty it is. I like on the card itself. Because I'm wondering if this, that's not bad still, but...
No, but that's in Japanese.
That's in Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this to eventually be Yu-Gi-Oh with the pendulum monsters where it's got like so much text and you gotta like magnifying glass read all of it. Where, to your point, like what Magic does is almost every set there's a new keyword. Like when in the Final Fantasy set, they even invented like 6 new keywords just to be like, this isn't an existing thing you already know, but we're just giving it a new keyword name. But like I feel like One Piece is hitting the edge of that where it's like everything is a whole lot of text rather than like, here's a simple way to understand it, or here's a keyword. Even though it makes it so it's less nuanced, it is like easier to develop around. And there's actually more interesting things that you can create kind of flavors in the form of it. Like Magic did a good job with it. Like one of them is like, one of the keywords in the created recently was called job select, which is like something really cool. It's a Final Fantasy mechanic, right? But I was like, oh great, there's like flavor to it, there's characterization to it. And obviously we love things like rush, blocker, like double attack, all these things, but it'd be cool to start seeing like more keywords and whatnot.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it feels like we're kind of in the middle of 2 different design spaces, like the original design space with keywords. Like so, we still have things like blocker, that's like the most commonly used keyword. But then we're adding all of these new effects without adding keywords for them, and so it's like I can't tell whether like Bandai, from a design perspective, wants to move away from keywords and just have everything be paragraphs, or like it's kind of weird because we just haven't seen new keywords. Maybe we will with this big reveal that's coming up. But it would be nice to have something that just is like a generic keyword like protect, and then you designate whether it's like KO or all effects in like another little block of text, whatever that is, and then also some condition like minus 2,000 power here, so that it's like one line that can summarize all of that. I think that would just like reduce the load.
That's a good idea.
On cards.
Yeah. We need to also submit that in the next Bandai survey.
Yeah. Because in just like, well, last thing I'll say about this is like, in Magic, I think there's a concept called ward, which is like if someone wants to target, which is another level of protection, which is like if someone wants to target this with an ability, there's a cost they must pay to target it in the first place. Yeah. And then, so they just write ward, and then to the right of it is a cost. And the cost can be anything. It could be pay 2 life, it could be discard a card, it could be like rest 2, like character, like, the point is like it becomes it's really easy to design complex effects now when the keyword is supporting you. Now that being said, I think Bandai, like this is a sign of Bandai exploring, because maybe when they do enough of these types of cards, they're like, there should be a keyword. Like instead, whenever something would be removed, can just become like I don't know, protect, and then it says like some kind of cost. I want to see us move towards I still think they've solved this already with Kobe. I want removal in this game to be power based. I really, really do. I wish they would just commit to that, and I want power based removal, and then if it's you want the blue stuff, I want bounce to hand. I love bounce to hand because you give the resource back to them. Then you allow for ways of replaying those things again, right? I feel like those 2 mechanics to me are beautiful. I don't think we need more than that. I don't think we need cost-based reduction, because power-based reduction allows you to counter. You have all these cards in your hand that can boost power. You don't have cards in your hand that boost cost, right? So I don't know. I think we've already solved this, Bandai. Let's just
You're gonna jinx it. Next up, we're gonna have attribute-based removal.
Right?
Oh man.
Oh, it's coming. Yeah, for sure.
But the thing with these cards though, you know how you generally would have 8 to 12 2Ks in a deck or whatever. As I'm deck building, I'm like, okay, what kind of protection can I now add? What kind of protection does this color have? And if it doesn't have any protection, is it worth building right now? Because so many decks will just easily deal with it, right? So
this card's just gone. In the era of when Shanks was at its peak, anything that was 6K or less, I was like, I'm not even looking at this card. This is nope, doesn't exist to me.
When it's weird because we're getting into this world of the problem with this style of design, which again, this is in the future, so I can only speak to how things are right now. But the problem with the current way protection is implemented is it really makes matchups really, really swingy, 80-20. Buggy is a cool deck, but it's a huge problem for the game, because if you hit Buggy as certain decks, you just can't play. Right? If you hit it as you can't play the game. There's no condition. There's nothing you can do because your whole deck is turned off. And it reminds me of even playing your UP games into RG Smoker. It's do they see Tashigi? It comes down to this one card. Do they see the ability to protect their board? And if they play that, well, now it just got a lot harder. If they don't play it, you just lose. Right? And it's that's also feels bad, because it feels bad from a deck building perspective to your point, Kobe, to have to put in cards that don't really do what you want for your game plan, but you feel obligated to. We're already obligated to play 12 2Ks or 10 2Ks or a bunch of blockers. That already eats up a quarter of our deck slots, right? So now you have to put in also KO and removal protection, and then you have to see it as a part of your game plan. just to play certain matchups. Like I think there's got to be a way of like moving away from that, and I think we might just be moving away from it by giving every card protection, so it doesn't even matter anymore, right? So to just say like we're done with this kind of style of KO or removal, but I do think it's certainly a problem that we're seeing right now with certain decks in the meta.
Yeah. Is Shirahoshi new one?
Yeah, this one's crazy.
These will be removed from the field. Everyone, it's
just like another one of those. Like, do you just add it to yellow decks because you just get so much? Like, you don't even care about the opponent's turn effect, right?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. It's just not an interesting it's not an interesting card. Is the problem?
Yes.
Like I just wish I want more like conditional things to happen. Like we talked about this last week. Like for example, in the buggy deck, like when your character would be removed, your Croc Mihawk, you can trash your card from hand. I think there's probably something way more interesting that could happen.
Yes.
To protect your board. Like something like sacrifice a card on your board or something like that. So if you played a Searcher now, you can like trash the Searcher and then you protect your board. But if they KO you again, now you might have to trash one of your big bodies, which slows down your win condition of playing the big body. So now you have to choose like how you essentially like build your board to win the game, but also how you protect your board. I think things like that could just be a little bit more interesting.
I agree.
And it might not be that. Like I think there's definitely a better way than just trash a card from your hand. That would make the game much more fun and more dynamic.
I agree. And like last episode is like I've always been kind of like worried about this kind of like I call it anti-fun mechanics, which is like and a lot of competitive decks. I think someone actually said I had said it, but it was like the nature of a competitive deck is that you don't allow your opponent to have fun. That most competitive decks are built on the philosophy that your opponent is not allowed to play the game or have fun.
Yeah.
And so anytime you create a card that is anti-fun, then literally it becomes like painful to play. Like I think the first example that we all thought was crazy was like Pudding, which is actually I think not that broken, but it is the idea of anti-fun, because the more fun I'm having drawing cards, you are not allowed to have fun anymore. Here's Pudding, no fun for you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cards that are like basically anti-fun cards, like which just are like anything you want to do, nope, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And rather than no, you can't do that anymore, make it so that the amount that someone has to pay or to achieve the effect in the first place is harder, rather than like, no, you can't have that fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like this is something that Yu-Gi-Oh does, which is they have the anti-fun cards, but you're limited to one, right? So for example, when I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I know that they can have like one copy of Solemn Judgment, which basically negates anything. Like anything your opponent does, you just stop it, and you take half your life is the idea.
Yeah.
You just stop anything, basically. But the idea is like they only have one, right? So you're always playing around that, and because Yu-Gi-Oh you cycle a lot, you're always playing around that one of, and then once it's gone, not only does it cost them half their life, so to play it, the cost is huge, but now I know, okay, this is gone. So now I can play the game a different way. And so it reminds me of like in Buggy, I was playing, I played Lucci for fun.
No.
And I faced a Buggy, and actually I won the game, the tournament game, then we played another game, and I lost. And it was just because like, he saw 2 Croc Mihawk, and one game he saw 1, and I was able to get enough KO effects. And it reminded me of like, it would be fun if that was the mechanic of Lucci versus Buggy, if it's like, I know that he can only protect like himself or his board like significantly one time, and I have to really choose my moment to break through and bust through, and if I can do it, I win. As opposed to like in our game 2, where he's just like, Croc Mihawk, I use all these resources to remove it, and then he's like, here's another one. I'm like, okay,
another one.
Right? It's like, GG. So I do think, well, I'm not a fan of limiting cards to one either. I think there is something to be said about like this idea of like you're really powerful, you're really potent anti-fun mechanics are like limited so that you can anticipate or play around them. Like something like Pudding is not great for that, because like you want to draw cards.
There's no like conversations happening back and forth. It's just like, oh, here it is.
Yeah, but I'd almost rather have like leader effect on Buggy, like once per game. Like you can like save your whole board. Like something like that would be way more fun to me than Crocodile Mihawk is, because then you have to really choose your moment and choose what you want to save, and then it becomes this battle of wills.
Yeah.
And, like so something like that. I think there's something there.
Yeah. Even if it said once per game on it, I'd be like, that's fat.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
If it's once, if Crocahawk literally said once per game.
Yeah.
For like
For
each
all,
copy.
yeah.
Like per copy, I'd be like, now that's not ever gonna happen, because this idea of state memory is something that I think we've historically seen One Piece rulings not like. The idea of state memory they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, there must be a way of implementing something like that though. That isn't like doesn't have such a load on like the players. Like even just like you can only play one copy of this card per game or something like that. And then you just pitch the other ones. But again, that has that same problem. If you have to remember, but at least you can like look in trash and be like, oh yeah, look, there was the copy of the card that they played or something like that. But, yeah.
This discussion could be an entire episode on its own.
Oh yeah. Of just like the balancing philosophy of removal versus like staying power and how they're just like always like just battling each other. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, Sanji, green character, 5 cost 7k, film, Straw Hat Crew, no counter, on play. Set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. Nice. End of your turn, if your leader has film or Straw Hat Crew types, set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active.
Yeah, this is interesting.
This just does it on play, right? So it's a vanilla with 2 Dawn upside, with no type locking.
Yes.
Like, this is an example of a card that helps Uta. This is actually a card that helps Uta, right? Because it's like 5 Dawn slam this and then just like swing 7 or like do whatever. It's like pretty good.
This also kind of has the built-in Sanji leader effect. The what is the OG Sanji?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The not truly East Blue Sanji.
Yeah. We're getting like a leader effect now in a card. Like what used to be essentially a quite pricey leader effect from a deck building perspective is now just.
And end of your turn, set up to 1 if you're film or Straw Hat Crew type. So film type leaders, I believe the only one that's green film type leaders, it's just Uta, right? Is it just green Uta is the only green film leader? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, green Uta is the only current green film leader. And we haven't like, so this is for Uta and for the red, like I'm assuming the red-green
Luffy?
Red-green Luffy. And I see some people have said that this is potentially good in GP because it means that you get to restand the Dawn for like things like the Giant and stuff. This is definitely one of those like, I think really good sleeper cards where like this is just, I've always had a belief in like 5/7 vanillas. 5/7 vanilla is just such a good stat line.
Yeah.
If most people are not prepared to deal with 5/7s, it's like a really awkward stat line to get rid of.
Yeah.
And the power is also a really awkward power line to get rid of. Like even if you do something like, even if you use like Molpus Slums and clear it, it's still like, it feels bad. So that's what makes this card good. Like even when you do the most efficient possible remove for this, it still feels bad.
Yeah. I think too, like I was chatting with Adam at 401. He's a fabulous GP Luffy player, and he was just saying like he thinks that GP Luffy's going to get hit in the ban list because they keep printing all of these ridiculous cards that are so strong in GP Luffy. Because again, like GP Luffy depends on one engine, which is Sanji Pudding. The whole deck revolves around seeing that engine. But if you had like even just 2 of these, like this isn't Sanji Pudding, but it's getting you closer to Sanji Pudding, and also it's also pretty strong like in the like after the mid game phase. Because you get to a point when you're playing GP Luffy where like your Sanji Puddings matter, but they really matter in the mid game to like boost you to get out other bodies. Once you get later into the game, like this is really strong because it leaves you a Dawn for Giant, right? You get to restand 2 Dawn, and then you get to use your leader effect, assuming you don't have any Sanji Puddings. If you have 4 Dawn, so at the end of the turn you could have potentially 5 Dawn. But I mean, you'd play something else like a 3-cost Nico Robin, and then have 2 Dawn up, right, as you establish a body. So I think like this just seems like really, really strong in a deck like GP. I don't know if there's enough room to fit more than maybe a couple, but again, it's like these little things that could put a deck like that over the edge, where its largest, like GP's biggest weakness right now is just sometimes you don't see Sanji Pudding.
Yeah.
And like this kind of does the trick if you don't see it.
Yeah, makes it easier to also play around Hody because you get that extra 1 Dawn restood, and it's another target for Luffy Taro. So, ooh.
Yeah.
I almost feel like that card might get hit because it's like, oh man, like.
I think you can only play purple though, Luffy Taro.
I think it is only.
Is
purple.
it only purple?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Which is good.
Thank God. Thank God.
But I mean, this is still like a really strong 5 Dawn play as a GP. Like, okay, you'd probably rather see the Sanji Pudding, but the thing is, like, there's also turns as GP where, and there's certain games where you don't even, when you're going first, let's say you don't even return Dawn because you want to keep your Dawn count high. And so it's like, I'll just play this. Yeah. Get back a bunch of Dawn, do it like a larger swing, or, I mean, there's not really like play another Searcher, play a stage, just set up for the future. So pretty strong. And then of course it also would work with the new Luffy leader as well, right? So we're seeing, I think all of these are support for the new Luffy. It's just funny that they also can apply backwards.
That's usually how it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever spoilers come out, everyone's always like, how can I apply it to what I immediately have right now?
Yes. How does this boost the thing I like playing?
Which is fair, yeah.
Nico Robin.
Robin, another green character, 7 cost, 7k, 1k counter. This is Film and Straw Hat Crew typing. On play, up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 8 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's turn.
Yeah, I saw people saying, like, finally they print the answer to Kid. And it's like, after Kid's going to rotate out.
And also, like, that's... it can't be rested. Yeah, I guess...
Yeah.
But this is such a weird thing. If your opponent plays Kid and you play this, it's so like, okay, this is a 7 cost 7k, which immediately makes it like a super, like that is, I think, one of the most cursed stat lines in the game. Cause like, I don't know how many 7/7s are like super playable and really that good.
Yeah.
Cause if you're going first and you're playing this a card on 7, then it needs to be incredibly impactful. If you're not playing it on 7 and you're playing it going second and you're playing it on 8, then it needs to be something that like, I don't know, it's one of those weird cards where like it's really hard for something at this stat line on this turn to be good, especially when you're not ever playing it on curve. You're playing it as a reactive response to someone who already has an 8-drop in play. I think it's really good. I'm always glad to see cards like this, which, you know, even if they're not super broken, that's almost a good thing. We're like, you know what? We just sometimes need more cards that are in these typings, because maybe there's a random deck that's Film and Straw Hat Crew that needs the support to really like shine. Who knows? I think it's a cool effect. I just don't know how it fits in anything right now deck-wise or like truly countering. Like if you're playing this just because you hate 8-cost Kid, like more power to, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I've been there too, man. I've been like, I hate this deck and the deck I play is about hating this deck. More power to you, but if you're playing this in a green deck because you hate green players playing 8-cost Kid, yeah, I guess, yeah, go have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it also would, you can also hit their Mihawk. You can also hit like a purple Katakuri. Like that means they can't swing with it.
And they can't block.
And they can't block if you played this. So it does like, it is kind of this weird thing that can deal with like a row of really annoying 8 costs that exist in the game right now.
Yeah.
Whether again, like you said, whether it's good enough to justify playing it. It reminds me of the 7 cost, 7,000 power
like,
Bonnie.
Most of your turn is this, and that feels kind of bad.
Yeah, it is, but it also like it's weird. It's just, you can see how my brain works. I'm like, oh yeah, I could maybe see this working in GP because I get back Dawn, so it's like it's fine. Like I could play this for 7, and then I'm gonna get back like 4 Dawn.
Like maybe it's a singleton, right?
Yeah,
like you're like you'd see this as like, you know, I can search this, so if I run a singleton and maybe there's a matchup, you're like, I just auto win if I play this at the exact, like it's like. Yeah, like...
I don't think you're running 4 of these.
No, I don't think anyone is.
Which usually I think uncommons tend to be more niche, where it's like, they're either, you don't have any other slots, so maybe you run 4, but for ones like these, it's like 1 or 2 of, because of the meta or like your locals or whatever.
Yeah, it feels like it could have been like just like one of your opponent's characters, as opposed to like the 8, like the 8 makes it kind of bad. I think. Because when you think about the 7 cost Bonnie, right, she can just freeze any character that's rested. So like that just like there are some really strong 8 costs right now, definitely, but it would be nice if you could also just like stop like a 9 coster or a 10 coster, and then I think this might actually be a little bit more playable as just like a way to slow down the game when you need to slow it down.
Yeah, even if you hit anything, you just drop the power by 1k. I think that's like. It becomes like kind of like Ein, like Red Ein, which we know is like not a broken card, which is 7/6 that drops something to 0. We've seen that not be broken. That I almost feel like if this could hit any cost, and it was dropped by 1k power, and the fact that it's counter, which is something that Ein doesn't have, it's like I think that would still be incredibly balanced. But the worry is always that anytime you make a Straw Hat Crew card that is higher end and the higher tier card, like in terms of the cost line, it's so searchable that if you make it too good by accident, people will just run 1 or 2 of them, and then suddenly like people have to play around this like obnoxious effect the whole game. So I'm never mad at it because it's like there is a level of caution you have to have when designing Straw Hat cards for the purpose of they're so searchable.
Yeah. And I think this goes back to our earlier point too of it's like we need a keyword, please. Like what is this wording? This is so confusing.
Yeah.
Like cannot be rested is, I don't get it. Like because we've got cannot be rested, now we have like cannot attack. We have like frozen, as in like Blackbeard free. Like give us just like a frozen keyword, okay? And then we can make a nice little marker, and it's like frozen. You put it on the character. The character is just, you can't touch it. It just stays as is. You know, like we need something like that.
We
this
even
is so
use them.
confusing.
We call it stunned or frozen or like all that stuff, like ourselves, right?
Yeah,
we gotta invent it.
Yeah.
These kind of cards, like they confuse people in release events like so much.
Yeah. Yeah, they really. This is like a. So like somebody will lose their pre-release.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This could be a great
don't
finisher.
understand.
Yeah. It's like, no, you actually can't block. And it's like, what do you mean I can't rest him? I'm trying to block. Like, what are you talking about?
We talk about we're later on we'll talk about rules lawyering, but like if there's a place to be a rules lawyer, and the only place I find it like semi-acceptable, and not like rule sharking. Rules lawyering is only in pre-release.
Yes.
And only for like very specific certain cards, and even then it's not like you're scamming someone. It's more like, that's not how that works.
No.
You can take it back, but that's not how that works.
You're teaching them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like pre-release is supposed to. It's like a JoJo battle. Like where you're like actually. Like I have this secret special ability that only activates in this one condition. Did you read my card? No. So I think that's the one place.
Actually, Meteor Punch of Love gives me plus 3k for the whole turn. So technically your attack doesn't work because I'm still an 8k leader. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, and like it starts going on.
I think the funniest difference is that like once you play the card, your opponent can choose to read the card and understand it. Versus like in Yu-Gi-Oh, like the actual show, you have no idea what the card does until they actually just
there's no text
say
on
it.
This is power of friendship. You have to just take my word for it.
Yeah. And also, I didn't explain this before, but now that you've attacked, I have the secondary effect that also does this. Like, you just got to roll with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot of like, there's just like it's like unknowable rules that you don't know until you've encountered.
Like this is like off tangent now, but like everyone's seen the episode where Kaiba threatens to jump off a castle if Yugi tries to win the game.
Yeah, Duelist Kingdom.
This
of course.
This is like peak. That's like peak Kaibaism, which is like, I'd rather jump off a cliff than lose this game, which is great. But when it's almost valid because Yugi fuses his undead mammoth to the blue eyes, which that's not how that works, and it causes it to decay and die. Like, you can't fuse. This makes no sense. This is how the game works.
That's why Yu-Gi-Oh was so much fun as a kid. Like before I started playing competitive, because you would just make up shit like that. You're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuse this into this. And they're like, you can't. I'm like, what do you mean you can't do that? It's Yu-Gi-Oh.
What I'm saying is Kaiba's right for crashing out that hard for that play. For that play, he's allowed to crash out that hard.
That was wild, right? I think it was specifically like, if you attack, then the force of the attack will push me off the ledge.
Yeah.
So you better not.
You better not.
Okay, Roronoa Zoro. Green character, 4 cost 5k. This is Film, Supernova, Straw Hat, Crew, and importantly, it's Slash, plus 1k counter. On play, if your leader has a Film or Straw Hat Crew type, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. End of your turn, set this card as active.
More GP support? I don't
know. Set up to 2. Is it the beginning of your end of your turn or on play?
On play restand. Oh, sorry. On play restand the Dawn.
It's 2 Dawn or 1 Dawn?
2 Dawn.
2 Dawn. Damn. Yeah. Yeah. There's no way GP is not going to hit some way, shape, or form because this is just.
Yeah. This feels like so good. Like it feels really nice for GP because right now you run like the 4 cost Zoro that rests something. But like the ability to kind of like play this out and then get back a couple Dawn to like play out like another searcher, because sometimes it's awkward when you're going second and you like draw into a searcher, you have too many searchers, which happens a lot, and like that new Nami costs 2, so it's like you can play this, you can play out another searcher later in the game, you can play it out. But what's nice about this is like it can keep swinging for the rest of the game unless they deal with it, because they can't swing into it. And as GP, you want them to swing into your life. So it's kind of, it does have synergy. Again, I don't know if there's room in GP. I think obviously this is all intended for the Luffy.
Yeah.
But we still just don't know what that Luffy is going to really look like.
Yeah, and like, because like in my mind, this is like good for GP. It's better for GP than it will be for like the best play I can see for red green Luffy here is like, one cool thing is that like, okay, like one of the punishments for playing out, like when you're playing 7-drop Film Luffy and you're just emptying your hand out to just fill the board, the punishment is you have no hand now to protect your board. Now when you play 7-drop Luffy and you play this out as the 4-drop, you get the 2 Dawn back. So you now get to like protect, either you can block with Luffy and protect it, or you can protect your leader just straight up with like the extra Dawn. So this is kind of taking away the punishment for emptying your hand to fill the board. You don't have that same punishment anymore. The fact that it restands itself means that you don't have to worry about protecting this. So as a film card, I think it's really interesting for a bunch of different reasons, but like it feels like with how strong GP is, it feels like however strong this is in that deck, it still feels stronger with just a stronger leader.
Yeah, and I mean we are just seeing like ridiculous like potential combos now with like restood Dawn, which I kind of like actually, because the thing that I don't mind about like the restanding Dawn in this context, I mean, like you can put on the leader to swing, which is can be a little bit annoying. Like you can put pressure, but I like the idea that like you keep restanding Dawn and playing things out of your hand because it makes your hand smaller. It's not like Gecko Moria where you just play something and then like you recur all this value. Like I like the new Mihawk, the 8 cost that's coming, because it's like, yeah, okay, you can play something else for 4 Dawn, but like, you lose another card from hand to play that. But yeah, we're in a really funny world now where you're gonna play like 8 cost Mihawk into like something else to restand Dawn, into Zoro to restand 2 more Dawn. Now you've got like your own Gecko Moria, your green Gecko, where you play like 3 bodies in one turn. So I think I think that could be an interesting direction for green, and we are like this does fall into that package because it's of course slash, right? Yeah. So it's all part of that slash package. We're seeing all these like slasher cards that they're all searchable, and they all kind of do things green wants. So yeah, it's interesting.
Only because all these cards say film on them. I like one way that I would love this card is if they remade red green law, but they give it film typing, and I'd be like, and the same effect but film typing, and I'm like, oh. This is all we need. Make the leader again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the event card. I know you're strong, so I'll go all out from the very start. 1 cost, Straw Hat Crew and Supernova's main. You may rest 2 of your Dawn cards. Up to 2 of your opponent's rested characters with the cost of 7 or less do not become active during your opponent's next refresh phase. So this is like Luna at home, I guess.
Yeah,
or
Straw Hat Luna, yeah.
Counter up to 1 of your leader only gains 3k during this battle.
Yeah. Straw Hat Luna, man. Like
more GP support.
Like Straw Hat Luna, like. Okay, remember I said like, oh, I love when Bandai does this. We're like, oh, people keep using this card in this deck. Let's just give it a typed version within the deck, so that they don't have to do that anymore. And I'm like, okay, but the inconsistency of people seeing Luna is probably a good part of the game. Like, maybe they didn't need this to be this, because when are you really hitting 3 or 4 targets? If you're cashing out that hard, it's so Jover, like, that this feels really, really good, and it has the alternative effect too. So I'm just like, what? This is so good.
This is so good. It's crazy. Like, yeah. The fact that this is searchable. Like when things are searchable, it means you don't actually have to run as many copies. So you might not even have to run 4 copies. You could run 3 copies because it's searchable. Or you can run a bunch of copies and just chain this back to back, which is always a problem with Luna, is when people chain Luna on you, you just tend to lose the game because none of your board can swing. Now, I think like Luna as a card, and even this as a card, it's definitely interesting in the right deck and the right context, because you can play around this by just not swinging. But you have to be in the right meta where that's okay, where you can actually take the time in the game to not swing and not just lose because you're not putting down pressure. So like, for example, in like GP mirror matches, one of the things you're always doing is playing around Luna, and I love that aspect. It adds so much skill to the mirror because you're always like, what if they have 3 Luna? If I swing my whole board, I just lose. So I am always going to keep up enough bodies that I can threaten lethal if they try and just chain Lunas, right? So I think I like that this card also creates those kind of scenarios, but it has to be in the right context where it doesn't just punish you for trying to play the game and trying to win the game.
Yeah.
Which it does feel like, especially in the context of the new Luffy leader, it does feel kind of punishing. Because they already, basically, when they get to 10 Dawn, they're gaining so much free counter. Like you're going to feel like you want to put as much pressure on them early as you can, right? And it's like, well, you can get punished for that in the mid game now by having your board rested and then chain rested for forever for such a low Dawn count. And even if you don't, you can just counter with it. So really strong, really strong.
Yeah, that's nuts. I will say the one caveat, or like the dark horse effect of Luna, is that trigger that literally rests anything.
Yes.
And it's like particularly vivid in my mind because I played Blackbeard in the recent Treasure Cup and I faced a GP, which I was accepting the defeat, but it turns out I actually would have won if they didn't have Luna off a life. And I was just like, you can rest anything? That's nuts.
Luna off life.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I would like to see gone, which they are moving away from. There's like triggers like that because I've definitely sacked people. I think probably anyone who's running this card in GP has when you play for a season, you will have a couple games where that's just your last life, and you just win because of that. And it doesn't make any sense because the card's not in your deck for that reason. Yeah. I think it's nice to not have that on this Straw Hat card, but this Straw Hat card still is infinitely better. One problem I have is that just like some of these card names are too long.
Nah.
I get it, but like you're never gonna say it. I feel like you should. Like if you're commentating the game, I feel like you should like say the full name of every card as a commentator.
Yeah.
And like there's just no way. I'm not even gonna like remember.
What do you think the short name is gonna be for this one?
I know you're strong, probably, but
I'm just gonna call it Straw Hat
You're
Luna.
strong.
Yeah. Straw Hat Luna. Yeah, Straw Hat Luna.
Or Electric
True.
Luffy.
Electric.
Electric Luffy is a call.
I'll go all out. Let's make it really dramatic.
But I had a thought. I completely lost it. Oh well, it's probably not worth it. But you were saying, it's not worth it. It's not. About triggers. Sometimes I feel like triggers being too good. Like sometimes I can't tell if the trigger being too good is the problem or is a leader being too good is the problem. Like when I used to lose to Shanks because their last life trigger was Red Hawk, I'd be like, oh my, and like I have no choice. I don't actually have a choice to play around. Like I have to go for it this turn. I will not live. Like I'm forced to go for it. I hit the last life and it's Red Hawk, and I'm just like, it feels very like it's easy to feel bitter about it because you're like, oh, I was forced to go for it. There was no way for me to play a longer game to play around your triggers. Like if I could survive another turn to play around your trigger, I would do it, but I can't.
Yeah.
So then I just lose. And then you have to play a deck that can play so controlly that you can play that extra turn that I can't tell if good triggers are the problem or a leader being so good that you're forced to go for it on some turns. And the trigger ends the game because of that. Yeah. So, like, one way to solve it, though, is just to remove that factor of it, which is like, remove the factor of getting scammed out of games for, like, the last life trigger, or just, like, leaders aren't so good that, like, the margins for you to achieve a win are so tight that you just have to go for it, that you don't have much other choice.
Yeah, and that's what's hard, because I feel like it's weird, because like, I always hate on Enel, and like, but like some of the most interesting games you'll have are also against against Enel or against Katakuri, where you are playing that like really fine line where you're just like you're not going for it because you're like, what if it's 3 badges? And you're like, can I survive another turn and make sure that I put enough pressure to survive if it is 3 badges? And you're like constantly playing that game, and when it works out, like it's really fun as a player. You feel really rewarded and skillful. The problem is when it doesn't work out, and then they just luck sack you and you lose, then it feels really bad. Yeah. So it's kind of tricky. And I think like I do think one distinction and one problem with Luna, and a problem that was coming up with like the Red Hawk, is that it's not in what the deck does, which is a problem. Like Enel, I know that Enel is going to play a bunch of triggers, and actually the color yellow plays a bunch of triggers. Okay. So I go into that matchup knowing that I have to play a certain way. But like with a deck like Shanks, it's like they don't put that card in as a trigger, right? Yellow plays beige as a trigger. One of their win cons in certain matchups is I have to see beige to win the game. Whereas Red Hawk, you're putting it in there actually because it was like really good at KOing the 2-cost teach. That's why it's there. It's not there to save your life when you know. So I do think like moving away from that is good. And I almost wish this like that. And it's such an old card, but like I would love that trigger to have something like you may rest 1 Dawn, and then you do the effect. Yeah. And then so the person has to say, okay, what if it's a Red Hawk trigger? Do I leave up a Dawn and not play my 10-cost Shanks? Because I'm going to die, but I might win if it's a Red Hawk trigger. So, you know, at least that's better. Because then they have to think about it and intend to use the trigger and play around it. And then it's kind of neat. Then it's like, oh, wow, they gambled on it and it was right. Yeah. Versus like, just like, oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. You lose your cereal because I triggered it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
I like that idea. Like, I know a part of the game you kind of have to attribute to luck. Yeah. But when you kind of attribute that luck to the way that you play the game and factor that into your gameplay, right? By taking a gamble, for example, it's hard to be bitter against someone when it's like, oh, I chose to leave 1 Dawn up and not go for game because I'm scared of dying. And, you know, I'm risking everything on like this saving me. And it's like, fair. Yeah, you made that choice and you almost lost because of it. But now it turns out I lost and you made the right choice. So
yeah. Well, that's why like I have had so many fun games against like really skillful yellow players who played that way. Like they play with that intention, and that's kind of like what can make the color interesting. And so it's a shame that like it's hard to find the balance of that. Yeah. But like it was always fun. Like I always loved playing against Maya on Kata because she was so good at playing Kata that she would play the game. She would be in a really bad spot, and it's like my win con is that this life here is a trigger. So I'm going to play that way. If it's not a trigger, I just lose, and I don't look like I know what I'm doing. But like actually, I had a plan. I was intending to play my deck a certain way from the game state. I think there's a big difference between that and just like
oh, there it is. Yeah. Like I agree with that because like to me, Enel and Kata, their ability to end the game is toned down where the chance of me surviving another turn is possible. With Shanks, that was never an option. Like it was such a one of us is dying.
Yeah.
But when I go for it, like I think to your point, like yellow, I'm never mad about yellow triggers for that reason. I'm more mad about these kind of triggers, if anything.
Yeah.
Because they just feel like your point, like what is it doing on this card or in this deck even? Why is this trigger on this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like even with like I hate the ramp triggers as well for that reason, because like they're again being used in decks where it's like that's not what they're really. The card is not in there for the ramp trigger.
No.
And like I faced on Monday at 4-1, I faced Joseph. He was on RG Smoker.
Yeah.
And like he plays Hody and like rests my Dawn, goes to swing for game and like trigger, get back a Dawn.
Oh no.
And it's like that is not what Gamma Knife is in my deck for. It's not in there to ramp me. It's there to deal with a certain card. The fact that it can also just sneak out a game, and of course and that's the problem with same thing as Shanks in GP. With like the Luna trigger and that trigger is that like my deck's already putting so much pressure on it. When you're playing that final Hody to go for game, you're going for it.
Yeah.
And if I hit the Luna, you lose, right? But you have to go for it because I'm putting so much pressure, right? So it just feels unfair. Like it just feels like, oh wow, like
that's the Yu-Gi-Oh anime portion.
Yeah.
That's why like when Roger comes out, like instead of all the scorecards, I'm just running all the ramp triggers. There we go.
It's a strategy.
Ramp characters? Nope. Ramp life. You hit my life, I will ramp.
If it works, right?
Yeah.
All right. Monkey D. Luffy, I don't think we have the full effect here. This is a green character, 3 cost 2k power, Supernova, and Straw Hat crew typing, and 1k counter. This is a blocker, and on KO, maybe set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active? Unclear.
That, again, would be kind of sick in GP Luffy. But yeah, like I'm very GP brain. Imagine if it's like, oh yeah, I can just play this and then I block with it and then I get back 2 Dawn for Giant.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
It would clearly be a very good defensive option for the new Luffy.
Yes. Yeah.
You just block and then counter and counter.
Good defensive option for like a lot of any deck that has access to green. Really, like this is really like because there's a lot of really like red green decks have access to all like the red event pool, and now we're just seeing all of these like the Luffy Luna or whatever. Like we're seeing all of these cards that have like plus 3,000, right? If you have a Dawn up, so the fact that you can now like play this blocker down, right, and then block an attack, get back 2 Dawn, and now you can use let's say 2 of those plus 3,000 events. It's really really good because you can't like the value of a blocker in this game. It can be unbelievably like you can get so much value from blockers in one piece, right? Because like even a plus 3,000 event, right? That's only going to get me to 8k, but I might be getting a swing coming at me for like 12 or 13 or 14, which a blocker does stop. So the fact that you can get a blocker and have Dawn for events is actually like kind of disgusting.
That's both of worlds, yeah. And like super searchable. I mean, so my only concern with this card is promo, because every time you see P, I'm just like, how do we get this one? How many treasure cups do I have to play to get me a playset of this?
Yes. Yeah, or you have to wait for a PRB like a year after it comes out just to get a copy.
Valid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now we're in blue. Ezo, 6 cost, 6k power, Land of Wano and Whitebeard Pirates typing, 1k counter. On play, draw 2 cards.
Man, all this Nami support. all this Nami
support.
Must
be rotating out.
Shove it all in quick before she rotates.
I mean, draw. When you get a body, you draw 2. I mean, I think the question was always how does this actually work in practice in the deck? Because this lot of your turn just to spend to draw 2. So if you're not doing anything other than just doing the draw 2, your deck better have some like crazy good effect and reason for why you're doing this. So yeah, I can't fully tell. Like, it feels like it's good. I don't know how the timing on this works and what decks that it will be most favorable for, because it feels like this is a deck that's, if you are in a powerful position as you go into your late game turns and you just need something to like kind of like fill the board, fill time on neutral, like kind of like back then with Kuzan, like I just don't know how you can drop this on turn 6 and not be dying unless you're super ahead on board and you're the aggressor in the matchup and you're doing this kind of replenish gas to keep pushing. I don't know how you safely play this, but maybe the new Ace or Whitebeard have good survival mechanisms to do this. I can't fully place it, but my brain says it's good, but 6 cost 6k might just make it into that weird spot where it's like, oh no, we can't do this without dying.
Yeah, it feels like it almost needs to be like comboed with something or cheated out or brought back from the trash or bounced or something like that. You know, like it feels like it's needing something to really, like it just feels like right now Blue is so good at like drawing cards and they don't do anything. It was like when we were playing the Kuzan games, Kobe, where it's like you're playing Kuzan and you've got like a million cards in hand, but then you just like lose the game. And it's like, how, I shouldn't lose. I have so many cards in hand, right? Like Blue's just in this really weird spot where it's just, right now it's functioning better as a dual color, where other colors tap into Blue and grab its really good removal cards and a few other pieces, and that's about it. So yeah, it's like you need something that you can do with all of these cards, and you need to not lose so much tempo. And again, you might think like, and this is something that's I think interesting about One Piece is that like, you might think like, oh well, drawing 2 cards is so powerful, but also like when someone swings 7 at say a 5k leader, that already demands 2 cards, right? And so the power of drawing 2 cards needs to get you more tempo than you lose from the fact that they might just go like 2 big swings at you the next turn, and then you like end up just giving those 2 cards to not die because you haven't really advanced the game state in a way.
Like Tenkai, right? You draw 4 cards, you give up those 4 cards almost immediately on the first swing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think whenever I see cards like this, because I think of the new Saka coming out in 12. I think it's like the 7 cost that draws 2, right?
Yeah.
Which you can swarm out with Garp.
Yeah.
So this definitely needs a swarm card, but it's an uncommon. Like whenever I see uncommons, it's like I need to judge it with a grain of salt. Like it's probably not going to be that strong. So I don't know.
Yeah, but like I think one thing that we probably can't take on is if this was the most minor adjustments because of the nature of how the curve of the game works out. If you made this a 5 cost 5k that did this, I think it'd be broken. I think that one adjustment would make this broken because of the fact that it makes your going first, slam this on 5, just really good because it just becomes like a peel off with a body.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think it's like they almost kind of know that. They're like, oh, if we just bump the cost and just it becomes this weird turn where can you really do this? Like 5 feels like the last turn you can get away with something greedy like this.
Yeah, well, because when you're going first, you're the one who's swinging, right? Like you've got the extra aggression. Whereas when you're going second, right, you've only really gotten, you've gotten 2 opportunities to attack, but you've already been attacked so many times that you've already had to take life, right? So it's just that subtle difference between like being the aggressor and being kind of on that second curve where you're seeing extra cards. And the thing is like you've already seen an extra card because you're going second, right? Like so it's like you need something else like to advance your game state than to just see cards. Whereas going first, it gives you more momentum to kind of keep the aggression up. But yeah, it's just like 6/6 to draw 2. It's like I'd rather play like Sanji Pudding and like draw a card if I have what's done already replacing itself, have a better stat line, it comes out earlier, and it gets me like multiple dawn for the rest of the game, right? When you compare it to something like that, it's like or Tashigi, like I play Tashigi, that gets me back a dawn every single turn that it stays on the board, and it gets to swing vanish. Or Smoker, not Tashigi, Smoker. So it's like, it just feels like in the context of these mid-rangey, like 5-drop things that we've got, like Cavendish, this just doesn't do anything compared to this.
A cute observation. I feel like if it was a 5 cost 5k, it would probably be a rare.
It
feels like that.
That's true, that's true.
It'd be too balanced. Too balanced.
Vista, this one is a rare. 6 cost 8k, no counter, Whitebeard Pirates. This has double attack, and once per turn, when this character would be KO'd or when this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, instead you may trash 1 card from your hand that has Whitebeard's Pirates included in its type. As I was reading this, I was like, why do you have to say it twice, like the removal? But then I realized KO by battle as well. You can save it this way.
Oh, no.
Interesting.
Once per turn. I mean, this card, I think it's not bad. I mean, it's a 6/8, so it's vanilla stats, so you already love that. I think there's actually a few ways to discard in blue now. There's a few ways to discard in red, so there's a few ways to get rid of this from your hand if it's a brick. It can choose itself as, like, if you have a brick in hand like this, you can choose it as the target to remove, to protect. Yeah, and it only protects itself, right?
Yeah.
I think that's still really good.
It is good. I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, that we don't see many, like, 6/8s that also have good effects, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting in that it, it gives you this ridiculous body, especially when you've got all these 6k leaders running around. Like 8 into 6 is your optimal number to demand 2 cards. The double attack is interesting, though I don't really think double attack is relevant. It's not relevant, but I guess in the case of blue, it is more relevant because as blue you can play a longer game where you kind of just you don't really swing at their life too much, and then you all of a sudden like push them really, really hard, and then you always have that pudding to punish that if they do take a double attack. So yeah, good synergy there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like a generally powerful card, but not like, it doesn't feel too strong.
I'm like, these are the kind of cards that I always feel like there's like a world where like it ends up being this kind of perfect storm when mixed with the right conditions where it becomes really good. Because historically 6/8 vanillas, like back in OP3 and OP4, I loved running vanilla cards because I'm just like, wow, if you know how to like do combat well, and this was in an era before removal, like if you just know which turns you can develop these things, they're so powerful as just stat bodies, right? The reason why that stopped being a thing and why 6/8 stopped being as relevant, like after towards OP05, OP6, was that there's so much removal because the fact that it's a 6/8, the 8 is a big deal, the 8K. The fact that it's a 6 cost, there's so many ways to remove 6 costs. Like this is, you could just play Gravity Blade. Half of Gravity Blade would be spent on a 6/8 to remove it. But it's different here, right? It's different here because like you can't do that anymore. So a 6/8's weakness is that it gets hit by almost every kind of removal. It gets hit by Naimon, it gets hit by Gravity Blade. There's so many things that can remove 6 costs. That was the weakness. This kind of counteracts that, so I actually don't know how good 6/8 vanillas are now that you've created one that can't be removed so efficiently. Because now this is a really good play.
Can't be KO'd. Like when this hits the board, it's staying. For as long as you want it to. For the rest of the game. So that's powerful, right? Like you have a double attacker that's just, it's going to be there forever. And you play 2 of these, and it's like all of a sudden all your life is gone in 1 turn. So interesting.
8K stat line is actually like really good because it dodges things like Mole Pistol. 8K is actually really hard to get around for all, like it's actually a really difficult number to get around. Like we can see that with 8 cost Kata. Like it's an 8/8, but 8 is as high as it needed to be to be as impactful as it is. So this, from a battle stats, from a combat stats perspective, is correct. The cost was the only weakness of 6/8 vanillas historically, and this overcomes that. So in the right conditions, in the right deck, this is really good. So we have to wait to see what that is. But as a person who loved playing vanillas back then, I'm like, ooh, this is like getting to a point where it overcomes the weakness of historically what made 6/8s bad.
This is a really strong. I mean, like again, you have to have a Whitebeard Pirates to trash, so you're probably playing this an ace. Because honestly, it might actually have just been too strong if it wasn't Whitebeard Pirates typed. You would have actually been able to see this now. If it didn't have that condition, it would have creeped into, I think, so many different blue decks, and actually maybe made blue a good color. Just on its own, just because, again, like the problem with blue is that, again, you can draw a lot of cards, you can kind of do a lot of things, but then you can never really like finish games. And this does feel like a card that can help you finish games. It allows you to swing into your board. You attach a Dawn, you're swinging 9 double. No one can counter out of that. They're always going to take. And then you hit them with a pudding, and it's like the game's done. So limiting it to ace is good, and so we'll have to see how it plays out if it's a card that Ace wants to use or not.
If it wasn't later locked, 100% it's going in promo blue Luffy leader. You're just like, oh, it just the synergy is so perfect there. It's like so there.
Good call out. Gol D Roger.
Promo.
Yeah, this one is the promo. 8 cost, 10k power, a Pirate King, and Roger Pirates typing. I love saying that. On play, if you or your opponent have 10 Dawn, give your leader plus 2k power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. So this does allow you to chain Rogers, like 10 costs into 8 costs into 10 costs back to back and become a 9k leader.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm still not sure how I feel about all this Roger stuff. Like, it's like, everyone's like, oh, you can be like an 8k or you can be like a 9k leader, and it's like, yeah, I know, but like I played BY Luffy, I already had like a 9k leader, and you know what? Like I had Moria, and I still lost. Like even playing like an 8-9 and making my leader 9k every turn, I still lost. Like you still died to stuff. I mean, obviously the conditions are different, but like I would put up multiple life and be an 8-9 and play a blocker, right? That was what BY could already do, like a year ago, right? So when I think about Roger, like everyone like freaks out, like, oh, you make your leader so strong, and it's like, yeah, but like we've got a lot of powerful cards in the game, so I don't know if it will be enough. The fact that this is again like just generic purple card, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you can play it in anything.
You can play it in anything, so that's kind of cool. It's got a good stat line. I wonder like if all of these cards are like a little bit, like they seem really, really good when you first look at them, but then I'm just having a hard time like imagining how it's all going to fit together, because like, okay, 8 Dawn, 10,000 power, give you a leader plus 2,000, I would rather just play the 8-cost category blocker, almost every single time. I'd rather just be able to swing 8, and then who needs to give my leader plus 2,000? I can just block.
And that's true. I do think, to your point, if you play this off Sanji, the AK leader, this is warp, the fact that it's generic is interesting. But to your point, the kata is so good that is this really that much better than it is really flavorful that you can Sanji this off the top of your deck and then play it. Also lore-wise, it's kind of funny that if you were playing Red Purple Luffy, you can't technically use the Garp searcher and find Roger and play Roger
which is
in Red
that's
Purple
nuts.
Luffy. Flavorful stuff like that is interesting, but who knows where it lands? This might be one of those cards that accidentally becomes broken in something that we don't expect it to be, where it's the intention was for it to go here. It is somewhere else now. That's not where it went.
Yeah. I think I don't know. Purple just has good stuff now. That I mean, you also have the condition that your opponent has to be on 10 Dawn, or you or your opponent have to be on 10 Dawn. That's really easy to meet for a lot of decks. But again, it's just for me kata. I can play kata on 8. Right. I don't have there's not some stipulation to get this ridiculously powerful card for the rest of the game. So I think it's good, but I think there's cards out there that are also that good. So I don't know if we have to be too worried about it right now.
Yeah.
It has no counter, and it takes up one of your. The thing is that also when you're thinking about this card, just think about how many slots you can realistically dedicate to end game cards, to your big bodies, right? So think about a deck like UP Luffy, which is a late game centered deck that has ridiculous searchability and filtering and setup, and they can squeeze in about 12 big bodies, right? And after that, if you run any more, you just die all the time. Right. So it's there's already an upper limit in a deck like UP Luffy that always sees its big bodies and that plays towards them and how many big bodies you can run. And so you have to really think about what you're going to put into a deck like Roger or any of these kind of rampy decks, because you are really limited in what you put in, and you don't want to draw you don't want to put in 4 of these and 4 of them, and then you just draw have a hand of 4 Rogers and you just die to everybody.
Yeah, I would think if anything the deck that I feel this is most usable in would actually be Red Purple Luffy.
Yeah.
For the purpose of because when you get to 9, you can hit that 10 mark.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit 9.
Yeah.
And because you can search this really easily when you have the red package added in. But
that's
to your point, that I think that's probably, it's not all the existing purple decks have better solutions. Red Purple may be the only one that might like this more.
Yeah, it's definitely cool for Red Purple. There's gonna be some cool stuff they can do with this card, I think.
Into yellow, Kouzuki Hiyori, yellow character, 4-cost, 0 power, Land of Wano and Kouzuki clan typing. This is a blocker, which on KO, you may trash 1 card from your hand. If your leader is multicolored, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards.
Interesting.
Cheap healing.
It's one of those neutral cards. I mean, it's only a rare, right? Or maybe uncommon. It's rare. It doesn't seem super overtuned. It won't break the game because basically it works for any leader that's multicolored that's yellow, which is some nice support, but I think that's not enough to make a lot of the multicolored yellow leaders that are currently on the edge quite go over the edge, because it's a 4-cost blocker with 0 power, so any red thing that removes this in power is doesn't care about this. You still have the trash card from hand. I don't see how this is better than the what's it called, the Shirahoshi blocker that does it for 2, because it's way easier to use that. It's technically more searchable, but only for green-yellow Yamato. So this is looking like it's only really green-yellow Yamato support, because I feel anyone else would probably run the Shirahoshi blocker. It's cheaper to play, which is, for blockers, a huge deal, because spending 4 of your Dom for the turn on something like this is so expensive.
It is expensive, but I think too, what's interesting, with Shirahoshi, you can block with Shirahoshi and then you just don't gain a life. Whereas with this, you block and you gain a life, right? Shirahoshi's has to be removed, whereas this is just on KO. So you're basically playing, because there's not that much KO removal anymore because of the state of the game, because Bandai doesn't like it. I feel this Shirahoshi actually isn't that good because just not many people are using KO removal anymore. So in that case, the Hiyori becomes another option, where I can just block with this and gain back a life. So in that sense, I think it does seem kind of that. It's pretty good.
It's better for certain situations.
Yeah.
Yellow multicolored leaders, I think, are probably the most held back in terms of their strength. What is the best hybrid yellow leader right now that we have? That's
Law, probably.
Yeah, Grello Law is probably like the best one.
Yeah. Also, I guess blue yellow Nami.
The Nami.
Like, this is not terrible in the Nami. The thing is that like when I think about the 4-cost slot in these decks, I think about Basil Hawkins. So that on KO trashes your opponent's life. And I typically in this game, you want to trash your opponent's life more than you want to gain a life as yellow, just in the context of how yellow's...
And have your opponent lose a card rather than for you to... Well, you kind of cycle a card, I guess, in this situation, but...
Yeah, it's like you're trashing a card to gain it. Like, it doesn't feel that good compared to like your opponent just loses a card, right? Yeah. So to me, the Basil Hawkins just seems better in terms of like value. It's a body that can swing. So yeah, I'm not really sure like where this is going to go. I can't really see you like running this in Yamato, because as Yamato, like you're the one trying to end the game, right? If you're the one like as soon as you go onto the back foot and you're like playing like momos and putting stuff like typically the game's already done. Like every time I see a Yamato do that, I'm like, yeah. Like when you're trying to gain back life or do anything like that's you go hard, you swing, you end the game before your opponent can stabilize, right?
Yeah.
This just doesn't help you do that.
And it's at the 4-cost line, so to your point, like it can test with a lot of other things. And I mean, if there's a 3-cost line, you can consider playing it off of 8-cost kit or playing it off of bounce law, like bringing back a Searcher's Hand and playing this off of the bounce law effect. But like, yeah, at that 4, it's just too balanced. This card is too balanced to be broken.
I almost want to give it a trigger.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, I feel like I should have like a trigger trash one to play this or something like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a hot take.
So it's balanced. I mean, have fun with it in pre-release. Yeah.
Good pre-release.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Really good.
Rainbow Luffy, let's go.
Super strong. Lilith, yellow character, 1 cost, 2k power. This is scientist and egghead typing with 1k counter. On play, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with trigger, except for Lilith, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. With the trigger, activate this card's on play effect.
This is so good. This is exactly like they're giving Yellow Bonnie so much support right off the bat. Like this is. It searches everything in your deck that you want it to search. It activates your leader ability no matter what donk. Like if you're searching later in the game, like you've played a 5-drop and you're on your 7-heart and you play this for 1, and the 5-drop you play happens to not have trigger, and you play this, and then you're like your leader ability is always active no matter what because of this card. Like you'll always be able to like do that. It has a trigger itself. Like that's pretty good because it's just search. That's pretty good. Yeah, this gives Yellow Bonnie so much consistency right off the bat. Like, not even a set later, not even waiting to see how it goes. It's like, nope, here's just it up front.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny when like there's like all this hype for like Roger, and then it's like Emu gets revealed, crazy, and then it's like Yellow Bonnie just like beats everyone by swinging 7.
Just like a baseball bat, just like great concept, baseball bat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is a great card for Bonnie. Does everything she wants. I guess it's good for Vegapunk too, right?
Why not?
The scientist, yeah.
Yeah, like Vegapunk can run this as well.
Yeah.
I think he has space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even the new Luffy leader starter deck.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, because there's no reason not to play this over instead of the search event, right? Because it has counter on it, right? It has counter on it. It itself is searchable off, like, yeah. So this is just like the, like, and then even on trigger, it'll activate. I forget what the search event does though for Vega. That's the only thing. I can't remember what the Vegapunk Searcher event does.
Do you want
like on trigger?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let's search it up.
The smartest man in the world or something. Yeah.
The most brilliant
He possesses the
mind.
world.
Oh, draw one.
Oh yeah, compared to
Yeah.
this is this is objectively replaces he possesses the world's most brilliant mind, or in this case, short form Vegapunk event searcher.
Yeah, I guess most would have triggers, like the egghead cards that you play. So.
Yeah, currently like the Vegapunk lists have a lot of triggers. And I think the Bonnie list is going to have everything trigger. So
6-cost Vegapunk has it too, right? Like 6-cost Vegapunk block. I think the trigger is like draw 1 or something. I forget what.
Oh, the 5 cost?
The 6-cost, like the blocker one, the one from EB that's like really good.
Yeah, no, that's a 5 cost.
Oh yeah, 5-cost. Yeah. Trigger draw 1. Yeah. So even this is searchable off of. Yeah. So I feel like this is for Vegapunk hopers or like players rather like objective swap it, I think.
yeah, they're copers.
Copers.
In the best way possible.
Yeah.
Okay, S-Snake, 4-cost 5k power. This is Seraphim and Egghead typing with 1k counter. On play or when attacking, you may turn the top card of your life face up. Up to one of your opponent's characters gets minus 2k power during this turn. And trigger, you may discard one card from your hand. If you do, play this card. Wow.
Right,
power reduction in yellow.
So this S-Snake doesn't care about Monkey D. Luffy, right? Like
yeah.
So
not that we know.
It is possible to design cards like this, right? It is. We're not trapped in the world where every S-Snake just crumbles at the feet of any Luffy character card. Yeah. Like Kobe said, this is like one of the first instances of power reduction outside of Narakabura era, which is technically a counter event. And maybe there's like 2 other things, but like, yeah, this is like probably the only sort like one of the few initiative, like your turn power reduction cards for like combat tricks. So yeah, no, I think this card is really cool. I saw this and I was like, great, this is amazing for Bonnie. Because it's in the package of cards. How good it is really depends, but like, it mixes well with Bonnie because let's say if someone has a 7k body that's sideways and you play this, you can now swing 7 into the 5, and it lets you just trade really favorably for playing this. Now the question is like, can you even play this? Because if you're playing it, like, it's only really good as a reaction to someone's board. How often does that situation come up, and how often are you just being like, well, no, I'm just gonna swing face and just not bother clearing? But it does mean that you can punish people for playing these mid-range bodies that are 6, 7, 8k. You can actually kind of punish them for it and like threaten it when it's sideways with your like probably wider board when you're playing Bonnie. And the fact that it's recurring, as long as your top face-up life card your life is not face-up already from the top. And yeah, you can play it off trigger, which is also cool because, well, if you just got hit, you can play it off trigger, and then you can activate the effect because it doesn't specify your turn. I think it's a super flexible card, and it'll be a card that you can always consider for your build, depending on how the meta shapes around Bonnie. If you see that people are running more blockers or have more sideways targets that you often have to clear in the mid to late game. But flavor and flexibility-wise, I love this card. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a neat card. I think like the power reduction seems strong, but to your point, yeah, I don't know if it will be, how relevant it will be because, like you said, it's more reactive. Like it seems like a really powerful trigger actually, more than almost like a card that you would play. But well, yeah, we'll have to see, because it does feel to me like Yellow Bonnie will be more of like a swing life deck rather than to try and control the board deck. And so this does seem to go a little bit against the game plan there. But again, with the trigger that's that powerful, it might just be something that you include, and then it just helps shore up your curve if sometimes you just need something to play. And like, yeah, it's on play, but it's still when attacking. So even if you don't use the on play, like you're just on 4 down, you just play it. Next turn, you know you can swing into something, or you know it's always going to sit there as a potential threat that can clear something that's really nasty on the board.
Yeah, because like the best card I can think of for this is like someone plays 8-cost Kid. Like you can play this and it kind of feels bad because you're like, now they're protecting a 6k. That's like okay, but like you're already talking about like a weird situation where someone's playing 8-cost Kid against you as Yellow Bonnie, which I feel like you're gonna roll over a bunch of things already, but this does help you in a way. And then like even 8-cost Kata, like someone can just choose not to block with it.
Yeah.
And not give it to you rested knowing that you play this card or you have it in hand. Or even if you do swing first and they block and they get the free block off the Kata, and then you play this, you can't really threaten that Kata at 6k that aggressively.
Yeah.
And then they could just let it go too on the second swing. So it doesn't feel like it's good. Like it will entirely depend on kind of what situations end up shaping around Bonnie. It could be a good punish, but it depends on how Bonnie plays into those situations.
Yeah, again, I'd almost always rather play like a Basil Hawkins on 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like getting a card, life and hand at the same time seems to me like a stronger effect. So when I think about like 4 Dawn, like thinking about like yellow 4 Dawn cards, it's like Basil Hawkins and Kiku are like the ones, right?
Yeah.
And especially in a trigger heavy deck. And like I don't know if this compares to those. Like in both cases, they like the thing is like when you give something minus cost, then you swing into it and you kill it, like you're getting a card off the board. Whereas both of those cards kind of give you a life or take away a life, while also like simultaneously that life now either goes to your hand or gets trashed. So it gets you a card and a life, which is like a double effect. So I don't know.
Yeah, this feels like, I guess it's basically for like if we have a lot of 8-cost Kid style cards that Bonnie needs to just burn through and get over and get through, then yeah. Like it's their Gamma knife. It's like this is their mini knife. Like
totally. Yeah.
Well, it being able to do this on play and when attacking, it's kind of like, so for 4 Dawn, you get minus 4k worth of power and a 5k on board, and you enable Bonnie's +2 Dawn.
As long as you have a way to cycle the life that you have. But because like, if you're the aggressor as Bonnie, people probably are not focused on your life. They're probably focused on your board. So you may only get this to go off once.
Yeah.
Unless you like Zeus. Like if you have good ways of picking up your own life and you're like I think Bonnie's actual thing is like Bonnie will actually need a lot of ways to pick up their own life because people will be so focused on clearing Bonnie's board that you will actually need to constantly take life to keep your hand size healthy to protect your board probably. So if you're like playing, I always think to myself, Zeus and Flomp are probably really important cards for Bonnie, even though they're non-triggers, because you need to basically keep your hand size healthy and like basically like keep that engine going.
I think too that actually makes it kind of punishing in a sense, like when you like it makes this card a little bit punishing because it's hard to use multiple in the same turn without also taking your own life. And that might seem like a small thing, but it really isn't because when if you're say you're going to run 4 of this, you're going to have games where you draw 2 or 3 of them, and the fact that you like can't really combo them that well together will actually impact whether you put this in or not. So it's always important to think about something like that as well. Like it's like if I have 2 of these in hand, right? But I can only turn my like let's say I play 1 and then I want to swing and then lower again. I can't actually do that in the same turn. So you're actually limiting yourself by your own card choice. Whereas like I can play as many Kiku Nachos as I want.
And your Dawn count playing 2 of these, like, ooh, you're not. It's gonna be real tough.
It's gonna also be really hard. But like I could just imagine that like a line, like if it didn't have that condition, like where I draw like 3 of these and that becomes my line now. Like that becomes my win con is like, okay, I'm just gonna establish a bunch of these and like every turn I'm minusing so much, I'm gonna defend them. Like you know what I mean? Like it's a line you can take when you draw multiple copies of them that you really can't take with the current limitation on the card without having ways of taking your own life, and your opponent can also not swing at you if they don't want you to be able to do this again, right? So it's like you're punished in multiple ways by running this. So you have to there would have to be really something impactful that you want to remove with this, or like it just slots in really nicely into the deck overall.
Yeah, in fact, like if this was pick up a life and do this, I would really be like, I think that's actually kind of okay and kind of good.
Yeah, right.
Because you drop 2 of these, you pick up 2 life, and you're like, okay, well that thing is now 4K.
Yeah.
Just like real hellbent stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. That is the end of our leaks for today. Ooh, wow, that was a decent amount to catch up on.
Yeah, there was more than I thought. I thought it was gonna be like so quick. I was like, yeah, there's not any cards there. And then it's like, actually.
No, a lot of these conversations also devolve into like conversations about other things as well. And it's very long form here.